Evening. Hello and happy Monday. Just going to let everything settle and see if it is actually going live and all the rest of it. Probably is. I'm sure it's fine. So I'm proudly wearing my sticker, boosted today. So this left arm is not moving very much. So excuse me if my presenting is not very strong today, but I'll give it my best shot. So evening everyone. This is a nice short Facebook Live. And I was kind of spurred on to do it after the last 4 or 5 weeks of all this uncertainty and stuff that seems to happen at the end of these years that we've had COVID. And it just kind of made me think, well, we've got all this uncertainty and all this unknown and we can't control all of it, but perhaps we can control some of it or influence some of it at least. And it started to get me thinking about kind of positive energy and flow and how we can take that into next year. Because I don't know about you, frankly, I'm thinking 2022 could be a total washout again, a bit like 2021, and we could have some more challenges with COVID, with healthcare, with the NHS, with everything that's going on. So I thought, let's see what we can do. Like I say, we can't control it, but we can certainly influence it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about flow and a little bit about positive energy. So, like I say, it's all been a bit uncertain and changeable, and 2022 looks like it might be the same way. We certainly get sapped of energy when we are in uncertain times and changeable times. I don't know about you, it can reduce those opportunities for flow. And what do I mean by flow? So flow is defined as something that feels effortless, where you're totally in the moment and you're immersed in these moments of flow. And it's a really amazing combination between being challenged and using your skills. So flow isn't just about sitting there watching the telly passively, being entertained by something and you feel like you're in your flow. It's absolutely not about that. It's about challenging yourself a little bit, but also using your skills really well. And it's those moments that we get, and I don't know if you've experienced them in life, where you feel totally immersed in it to the removal of everything else. So there's nothing else going on in your world. You are just doing the thing you are doing now, and you almost lose track of time. And you almost lose the notion of time because you're so involved in this thing that you're doing. And that's what flow is for me. And like I said, there's a massive difference between flow and feeling relaxed. Feeling relaxed can come from passive entertainment like watching TV or sitting watching the world go by, whatever. But actually flow is being involved in something and immersed in something. So that's kind of a bit of the difference between what's being relaxed and what's flow. So why is flow so important? Now, flow is not everything in life. It doesn't happen all of the time. You can't be in a state of flow of this amazing challenge versus skills all of your life. Definitely not, because you'd be exhausted probably because you're so immersed in it. But there are these moments of flow that happen in life and that can bring us positive energy and can kind of refill those tanks a little bit. And because we've chosen to do the thing that gives us flow, it can help create a little bit of that control as well that we all feel a little bit out of right now. As I don't know if you feel the same way, but I certainly feel like we're not in control. So somebody summed it up in a book, and I can't remember which book it was that I read, but they talked about flow. Flow experiences provide the flashes of intense living against the background of life. And I like that, so I'm going to say it again. It provides the flashes of intense living against the background of life. And we can choose to have these moments of flow if we know what gives us flow, which is really exciting. We can liven up that dull background of life by these moments of flow. So lots of people, I don't know about you, in the last couple of years, when they said they were on furlough, I was like, oh my God, you're so lucky you're on furlough, you're being paid to do nothing. But actually, loads of people on furlough were they were reporting real mental health issues, and they were reporting real lack of moments of flow because they weren't being challenged and they weren't using their skills. So everyone thought it would be this dream life to be on furlough for a year or two, and some people enjoyed it, but some people found it really difficult as well. And there's been a lot of research around it, and some of it is around those moments of intensity or using your skills or challenging yourself just didn't happen while they were on furlough, so they couldn't use those skills effectively. However, on the flip side of that, there were lots of people who did volunteering, maybe for the I keep pointing to the wrong side, doing the old vaccine volunteering or volunteering at food banks to get food out to people who needed it, who experienced loads more moments of flow than they would normally have because they were being challenged, they'd never given vaccines before, and they were using skills that were really important to them, and they had a purpose. So there's a real difference. You can see again the difference between that passive stuff of being on furlough and having time off. People think it's a dream, it's not. And having a purpose and using your skills and challenging yourself. So that's what we're going to have a bit of an investigate into tonight. find out what your moments of flow might have been in the last year, and see how we can take those into 2022 and make them really useful for us. So I'm going to give you some examples that people commonly cite when they talk about feeling flow, just so that you can kind of get to grips with it a little bit more concretely. So 1, gardening. People talk about finding flow and they lose track of time when they're gardening. Another one is reading. Another one is cooking. Some other ones that people talk about are running or painting or crocheting, because you're using skills and you're taking time over it and you're immersed in it. Some people talk about going to the gym is when they find their flow, or presenting at work, something that they're deeply passionate about that's for a purpose. Perhaps it's singing or dancing or volunteering, like I said. So there's all sorts of different ways of finding flow, and there's no right or wrong answer. It doesn't have to be something crazy sports-wise, it doesn't have to be really arty or crafty. It could be anything that challenges you and uses your skills. So let's think about that now. So if you've got a pen and paper and want to do this activity, if you're watching it live or want to watch it back, that's absolutely fine. If you write down, have a think back over the last year and try and write down things that you have found that have given you moments of flow. So that moment of immersion, that moment when time stops. So if I think about mine, definitely cold water swimming, because it challenges me, it uses my skills as a swimmer and as a navigator and a safety person, all that kind of stuff. So definitely open water swimming for me. Writing a book has definitely given me moments of flow, because it's something I'm passionate about. There's a purpose to it and I'm immersed in it. And it really challenges me because I'm not the best writer. Cooking, again, trying to think creatively when we've been in lockdown and give people something nice to eat. And also riding my bike alone has really given me those moments of flow. So to try and get you to think about that, you could think about people you spend time with that give you flow. You could think about places you've been to that give you flow, or activities you've done, or work that you've done that you felt moments of flow in, or hobbies, or maybe it's animals, pets that you look after that you feel flow with when you go and walk them or ride them or whatever you do. It might be moments of spirituality or events that you've been to. So have a think back over the last sort of 12 months and think, what has given me flow? Or even, in fact, you can project back over your whole life and think, what's given me flow? And it could even go back to childhood, like when you were on building your tree house as a child or whatever, that may have given you flow. So have a think back and start to brainstorm down some of those things that give you flow, that give you those moments of flow. So I'll give you a second to do that. I'm also going to check my phone and make sure there's no chat questions, because sometimes they don't appear when you're in the live video feed, so bear with me. I'm just going to check that as well. Someone said, is it going ahead, this session? Yes, it is. It's live now. Bear with me. So let me have a little look and see if there's any other comments or chats or anything like that. No, we're fine. Okay. So note down some of those things where you find flow. Okay. And that might take you, if you're a reflector type person, that might take you a while to think about. That might not be an easy question. You might want to go back and look over a diary or your photos of the year and reflect in more detail about what's given you flow. I'm quite instinctual, so I can go, yeah, it was that, it was this, those things gave me flow. But some people really need time to reflect or need to look at things, or some people use their senses. They taste food and think, when I cooked that last time, I was really in flow. So really have a think about that and note it down. You can do more after this exercise as well if you want to, just to think about what flow is. Okay, if anyone wants to share their moments of flow, they can in the comments and I'll have a look at them. If not, we can also kind of broaden that out from just moments of flow, because as I said at the start, you can't find flow every single day and every moment, because they are moments of immersion and intensity. And we'd probably be dead if we felt those all the time, because they're so insanely brilliant. However, let's broaden it out a little bit and think about when we've experienced energy being given to us from something we've done. So there are plenty of things in life, you may or may not agree, unless it's just my life, that sap our energy, that take our energy away. It may be caring duties for family members. It might be work that you don't enjoy very much. It could be the school run that you don't enjoy doing in the car, whatever it is. There are plenty of things that sap our energy. But there are also plenty of things that we can do in life that give us energy as well. So have a think, broaden that out from just moments of flow, those intense immersive moments, broaden it out a little bit now and think more generally. Oh, welcome, Carol. Sorry, you've got it now. Internet's not great, is it? So welcome though, Carol. And it's recorded anyway, Carol. So if you need to watch it back later, that's fine. I'll put some notes in there too. So broaden those moments of flow out and think about what has given me positive energy this year. What things have I done? And again, you might want to use those things that I hinted at earlier to think about that. So you might think about people that have given you energy. Those people who don't drain your energy, they give you energy when they're with them. You know we've got them. They're good friends or amazing colleagues that make us laugh or encourage us. So think about people and note those people down that give you energy. Think about places that you've been that give you energy. For me, it's always the sea or the mountains or a lake or something around water. So note down those places that you go that give you energy. Then maybe think about events that you've been to. So note down anything that you've been to. It might be going to church on a Sunday. It might be going out for a running race. It might be going to some live music. It could be an event like a family birthday or wedding that's given you energy and that you've really enjoyed. Then maybe have a look at work and think about, is there anything particular in work that I've done this year that's really given me energy? And if I think to my own work, I do some work with This Mum Runs as their head of people, and some of the volunteering stuff and some of the volunteers in This Mum Runs are incredible. And working with them has totally given me positive energy. So you might want to have a think about work. Maybe think about activities that you've done that have given you energy. So that might be crochet, that might be painting, that might be playing board games with your kids. It might be being in solitude on top of a hill overlooking a view. So have a think about those activities you've done. Think about hobbies you might do. You could think about animals or pets or other things that have given you energy. I know some of my friends have got dogs and they talk a lot about how they give them that energy and that love that they need to feel. And maybe you'll think a bit about spirituality or mental health stuff that you've done that's given you energy. So what we're trying to build up here are those moments of flow, note those down, and then those moments of energy that you've gained from other things. Because if we are really acutely aware of those things, we can be consciously taking them into next year and thinking, right, okay, I'm not feeling it this month. All my energy is being sapped. I'm doing too many caring things. I'm giving too much to others. I'm exhausted. I'm whatever. We can't take those things away necessarily, but we can incorporate some of these extra energy giving things in, or these flow moments in, which is amazing to be able to do. So if you take a moment and just have a look at the list you've created, or have a little reflect and see what you've got written down there, you can probably find some themes in there. So for me, there'll definitely be the outdoors will be one of my themes for sure. Good friends will be another one of my themes. Food will 100% be one of my things that gives me energy, and I have moments of flow when I'm cooking and all that kind of stuff. So start to see if there are any themes that are within that. And you might even put it in those themes of people, places, events, work, that kind of stuff that I talked about. And what you can do is you kind of need to create something that's a bit visual to remind you. So what I do, I've got it pinned on my fridge. I won't show you because the rest of my house is a mess. It's just this little bit that is clean and tidy at the moment. But my fridge has got pinned to it all the things that give me energy and that I find flow within. And what I do is when I'm feeling like I haven't got enough energy in my life, or I haven't got enough flow, I go over, and it takes no energy for me to look at that and go, right, I'm going to go swimming today, or I'm going to spend 10 minutes reading a book that I really love. It's almost like a checklist of things that I can do to give me some energy. Because when we're feeling like we've got no energy, the worst thing to do is try and think of something from a blank page and go, oh God, I don't know what to do to try and restore some of this positivity. So it's really useful to have a visual representation, or a list, or a mind map, or a chart, or drawings and sketches of those things that give you energy or flow. And you can then go and pick and choose from them, like a shopping list. It's like when the kids go, where can we go today, Mum? And you're like, oh my God, I don't know. Actually, if you've got a list of parks and places that you can go, it's a bit easier to find out. It's very much like that with energy and flow as well. So I create a mind map. So I do a nice big bubble in the middle of flow or energy or whatever I want to call it. And then I do 3 or 4 or 5 themes off it. So my people, my places, my events, my hobbies, my friends, whatever. And then I just put some little lists in those bubbles, in those 4 or 5 separate bubbles to say, right, swimming's the one today, or running's the one, or painting or reading or whatever it might be. And I can go to that list and I can see it visually and remind myself if I'm not doing any of those things to try and incorporate them again into my life, which is really useful. So it's not rocket science, this. but it can be really hard to do when we're feeling drained of energy. So the thing I would say to you is share that mind map or that chart or those drawings that you might make somewhere visual. Maybe share it with a friend and say, actually, this is my thing. This works really well for me. Can you help encourage me to do these things? Maybe it's a family member you share it with, or your kids, and say, these are the things that make, mummy feel full of energy and really happy. And happy mummies are, make happy children. We all know that. So maybe share it with them and say, these are my good things. These are my things that make me really happy. Can we go and do some of them this week? Now, that's not always going to work. I'm a realist. We've got stuff to do. We've got shopping at Tesco's, bloody do. We've got to do whatever else we've got to do. But if you can try and weave a few of these things in by having them visually represented in your house, it's going to make it a lot easier than if you've just got a blank page to go from. So, it's not the answer to the COVID crisis. It's not going to fix your mental health. It's not going to drive everything you do, but it's a really simple idea to help give you some thoughts and some ideas about where you find your flow and where you find your positive energy from and how to plan that in for next year. What I tend to do is I try and fit one of those things in every week, even if it's only small, even if it's just baking myself a cake or reading my book for 10 minutes or going and wild swimming. I try and fit one in every week if I can, even if it's just 15 minutes. And that tends to keep me a little bit higher on energy. So it's worth planning in if you can as well. Maybe diarising it, put it in the calendar. So I'm going to check back in the new year and just talk about whether or not we want to plan this a little bit more, because it's all very well being aware of where your energy and your flow comes from, but actually making it happen can be a little trickier. So we'll check back in and we'll talk about those small steps to make it happen again. And then I'll talk about flow in a little bit more detail. Now, I'm going to show you, just in case you haven't got all your Christmas gifts yet or your Christmas list sorted, there are some brilliant books that relate to flow if anyone's wanting to read some more. So this one's a bit of an academic one called Finding Flow, and the author's name I cannot pronounce, but he is the god when it comes to flow. And it talks about all the research and the background to flow, and it's really interesting. So if you want a good gritty academic read that's a bit challenging and a bit using your skills to read, go for Finding Flow. The other one that's really beautiful is this one, which is the Japanese art of living a long and happy life. And I'm not going to pretend I can pronounce it either. I'm going to say Ikigai, but I don't know. This is a brilliant book, and it talks a lot about flow, and it talks about the practical steps you can take to build flow into your life. And it's also a beautiful book. The front cover is really tactile and it's stunning, and it's got some really simple ideas, and it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And it talks a bit about, hang on, where's the bit that I really love? It talks about the Japanese concept of Ikigai, or however you pronounce it, translates roughly as the happiness of always being busy. And we are always busy in our lives, but they are able to find happiness in that through finding this challenge and this purpose and this skills. So that's another brilliant book. And then the other one that's probably totally unrelated to flow, but is brilliant, and I've really enjoyed it this year, is Gifts from the Sea. I don't know if you can see that. The light's a bit harsh on it, isn't it? Gifts from the Sea. And it was originally written 60 years ago by Anne Morrow Lindbergh, and she went and spent time by the sea. She was a mum to a big family, and she never got any time to herself, but she went and reflected on life as a mother and as a woman when she was next to the sea. And I mean, the lessons in there about womanhood and about aging and about all those different stages we go through as women are bloody brilliant. It's such a good read, and it's a beautiful, again, really tactile book. So yeah, those three are brilliant, brilliant reads if you want them on your Christmas gift list. Anyway, I promised 20 minutes and I shall be quiet now. If anyone's got any questions, pop them in under the video and I will answer them. But get out there, think about those flow moments and those energy moments. Get them noted down and start building them in if you can, in a rhythm, in a pattern throughout the year, and see if that helps at all with this uncertainty and things that we're facing right now. All right, thanks for joining me, ladies. I shall speak to you again soon. Bye.